Hey everyone, Nebraskan Gooner here. Basically, it was you have two options. Option A, you get $100,000 cash right now. You can't invest it. Some people said is trading, investing, a couple other questions. I didn't really go into details because A, character limit, and B, it doesn't really matter. But basically, you can't invest it. So, because I knew one of the common answers was going to be, oh yeah, I would buy Bitcoin with it. Okay, so you can't invest it. Or option B, you get offered a course that will require you to spend 70 hours a week studying a skill over the next year, but you're guaranteed $100,000 minimum salary after. Minimum salary, I didn't specify. So if you want that to be $100,000 monthly salary, and some of the common answers I was getting were, so let's go through some of the answers here. So one of the answers was option A, unpopular choice. I'm plain lazy and quick. Extra cash is a no-brainer for me. Still can do what I want now and have a happy life. That's definitely not a wrong answer. Perfect answer for some people. Some people are perfectly happy where they're at. They don't have ambitions or goals to strive forward, and that's okay. It's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to have, X amount of money in the bank and have, 20-year goals set out for where they want to be in 20 years. Some people say, you know what? I want to be a teacher. I want to make $35,000 a year. I can live perfectly happy where I'm at with that $35,000. My family and I can be perfectly happy. It's a very convenient lifestyle. I have summers off. I work, 8 to 5 or whatever it is a day. And that's fine too. That's not for me. That's not what I like to do, but there's definitely nothing wrong with that. Okay. Every person has different interests in life. But for those of us that want to, obtain our entrepreneurship, and create businesses and have investments and have rental properties and things like that, and maybe create some passive income for ourselves, that style of thinking isn't going to get us there. So if you are one of those people that wants to, improve your opportunities and improve the successful, your overall success, then you have to retrain your mind. Okay. So you have to reframe it to different areas. So that's a lot of the things I got were questions about, let's see. So here we'll look at this one real quick. In current state of life, option A, I'd have to closely evaluate my current salary ceiling versus option B ceiling. Well, again, that's all up for interpretation. For me, there's no ceiling at all. I like to think about the floor, and then for me, there's really not a ceiling. I can take it where I want, and if there is a ceiling, then I can move elsewhere. But with most things, there's really no ceiling. You can move yourself up to where you want to be. The harder you work, the more certifications you get, the more customers you bring in, the more you learn, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's almost always somewhere you can go up, right? Unless you're Jeff Bezos, and even he's moving up quickly. So rewind 10 to 12 years to take option B in a heart rate, skip grad school and student loans. Student loans are not fun. Option B, but I need more details about the job after a year of study, because if I keep working 70 hours plus a week with poor quality of life, I'll take option A. So that's fair. Do I have to work 70 hours a week after the training is done? I didn't say that. I didn't say how much you need to work. Again, up for interpretation. So you can literally make it what you want, and that's the beauty of this. As let's just say this is offered like this, and one person will go in and work the 70 hours. The only set criteria is you have to spend 70 hours a week studying this skill, right? So everyone's doing that, but after that 1 year is over, two people that went through the same course could have made it totally different, right? One person could be working 40 hours a week on it, and one person could be working 10 hours a week on it, and they figured out how to monetize it and how to contract it out to get other people to do it for them and make money that way. One person, maybe they brought on a second person to help drop their time constraints down, and this other person is just working 40 hours a week by themselves. There's so many different spins you could put on this. There's so many different things you could think about this. You could hire a team. Maybe you do the year of work, and then you hire somebody else, and work with them for 2 months to specialize in something. And then now this one person is doing 40 hours a week, making, $100K a month or $100K a year, we'll say. And you're now working less time because you've specialized this niche market or whatever, or you've contracted it out or licensed it out or whatever you're doing, and now you're making $500,000 a year, and you're only spending 15 hours of your time a week on it, and everyone else, you've got people to run it for you. So again, those are things that you can think about and you can make happen yourself. Whereas maybe one other person won't think about it this way, they won't have the drive to make it happen that way, or they just don't think about it. See, these are things you have to think about, you guys. There's no ceiling on anything. Okay, there's really no ceiling on anything. And that's how you have to have, that's the mindset you have to have, okay? Again, option B, compounding effect. And this is one I want to go back and talk about in a minute. One of the big, oh, why did that go away? So one of the main things I was getting, okay, one of the main tweets I was getting, and I'm sorry, I had it on there, but I must have lost it. So give me 2 seconds. So one of the big things I was getting is there is a big inference from my original post, right? So, you can infer things that aren't there and make them your own, and people are like mad at me. So here's my answer basically. So most of the answers were A, I want money. A, I already have money. So the $100,000 is just nice amount of money I can, add to my stack. Or 3, the old teach a man to fish type deal for option B, right? So what I gather from that is there's a lot of people that are complacent, right? Just the complacent mindset in general, are just like, I want A, that's fine. I'm happy where I'm at, and that's totally fine. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? A very few outside the box thinkers, though. A lot of people are asking questions, okay? I'm not the type to ask questions. I don't need to ask the questions in something that's intangible. This is an intangible scenario, right? It's like a book gets over, all right? Your favorite, a book you're reading gets over, right? Chapter 12 is the last chapter. You finish reading it, you're done. Okay, I don't ask questions. Okay, Susie, at the end of the book, she had something happen, and you're left on a cliffhanger. Did she rescue her sister from wherever, or did her sister stay lost forever? I don't know. Can I ask anybody? No, you can't ask people. That's left up to your inference. So if you're a narcissist, you're going to say, no, Susie didn't save her sister's dead, or whatever. And if you're an optimistic thinker, you're going to say, no, she saved her sister. I'm sure this is how she did it, and I'm sure they lived happy ever after, or whatever. Okay? So there's different mindsets in there and inferring, and that's what the author wants you to think of, right? And a different person's mindset, your mindset will gear the way you think towards scenarios like that are left up to interpretation. So you need to reframe your mindset for things like this if you want to be that optimistic go-getter seeker, that person that empty, right? You need to be a half full or the glass half full thinker and say, okay, yeah, she probably saved her sister and blah blah blah, or whatever, but take that into your business approach, okay? So again, I'm one of those people that's more of like an analytic thinker, where I'm going to say, okay, what are the chances here? Her sister was trapped for this long with these conditions, and it's been 7 days. I don't know if she got water, blah, blah. You can only go about a month or less without food. Okay, so that's kind of the type of thinker I am. So that's how I would look into that. And I would like rationalize it that way if I were thinking that. But again, I don't ask those types of questions. It's over. Nothing happened, right? It's a book. It's a fake story. Nothing happened to Susie's sister after that book is over. The story has been written as it is, and nothing outside of that story matters. Like there's nothing outside of that story that's tangible. It's all left to interpretation. Okay. So now with this, all right, this is left up to your interpretation. So my answer is I can add a skill with a guaranteed extra income, and then I can look to monetize it and make it passive income. So I don't know how I would do that. Again, this is a totally fake scenario, my totally fake answer, thinking, all right, well, yeah, why not? Why don't I take this course for 70 hours a week? And if I can make, that's 70 hours a week right now, if it's something that I can put to the work, $100K salary a year, and not have to do any work for it once I've learned all this and how to get it to work, great. That's awesome. Okay. If I can monetize it out, maybe I could teach that skill to somebody or have somebody work under me and kind of teach them, and then get rid of most of my hours and have them do it for 50K or 30K a year, and then I can keep 70K. So there's so many different ways you can think about it, and I don't think about it as my only salary. So one of the things I saw in the answer too, it was, well, you said salary, you didn't say extra salary. And I'm like, well, to me, there's no extra salary. Your salary for one thing is salary for another, and I think that just comes from people having the mindset of only having one job. So, you grow up, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a doctor, and that's your salary, right? And that's all. That's your only salary, whatever. Well, I've always been on the mindset of I can have 3 or 4 or 5 different salaries, right, from different avenues. So I could be a doctor and have, $300,000 salary here, and then I could be a circus clown on the side and have a $20,000 salary a year from that. And then you add all those up, okay? So I think of those as individual salaries and not overall salary. That's just how my mindset is reframed from a young age, and I've just always had that mindset, okay? So, again, this is all left to be inferred by you, and if there's a job you want and it says something that like you don't really like, or it doesn't have specific details, and you're like, well, I really want it to be more like along the lines of this, so I don't think I'm going to apply. Well, you can apply for that, and you can say, hey, I was really hoping if I got this role that we could turn it more geared towards this, or I would really like to take it here, and I think this would be a great avenue to take it down, and we'd be even more successful. And in that interview, they might say, wow, that's actually a great idea. We've actually talked about that in the past. We've looked into that, but, we just haven't had anybody really want to take it there, or, have that extra incentive to go do it. So it never hurts to bring those, because if they want you to do certain things, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's not going to go over too well, okay? But anyway, so like I said, so here it says, right, you said salary, not extra, big difference. Well, Lori, to me, that's not a big difference. That's the same thing. What else? I think I replied to somebody. Let's see. I had a couple replies basically saying the same thing. So somebody said, empty promises, you give me nothing. Again, that's the person that says Susie's sister died at the end of the book. Again, I didn't give this person anything, but I do give out a ton of free content all the time. That's at least something. So this person anything, but I do give out a ton of free content all the time. That's at least something. So I don't want that to go unnoticed, and have people think I just give nothing, because I have given a lot out too. I've done giveaways and whatnot in the past. So maybe I've given him nothing. But again, that's just a terrible thing, a way to look at it, just in life in general. What else? Oh, so people sit and ask and wonder. So here's my response to if I read something as a 100K salary, to me that implies basically a full-time career, not something you can monetize as passive income. And again, that just reads to one person different the other. I never said it was full-time career at all, right? I said that you are guaranteed a $100,000 minimum salary after. Maybe all you have to do is take the course and have a tattoo on your arm that says pizza, and that person, just a small tattoo on your arm right here, just says pizza, and that is the more money he'll give you. So maybe you get double the size, it's 200,000, right? The sky's the limit on this. It could be anything. So maybe you do those 70 hours and you don't work at all and you get the $100,000. So you can think about it all these different ways. Like, let your mind think and work. This is trapping your mind into a very closed mindset, a very, very, very closed mindset, seeing that there's nowhere to go from this, and it's 100,000. These are the type of thoughts, and I'm not saying Kyle is a narcissist. I'm just saying these are the type of thoughts that will cap you and make you say, oh, well, it's $100,000 minimum salary. When I hear somebody say $100,000 minimum salary, I think, okay, what's the maximum, or what can I get out of this? When people say, you're gonna, as a car salesman, your car salary, or your salary for a car salesman will be $20,000, your base salary. And some people are like, okay, cool, so I'm gonna be at least making $20,000 a year, great. And I go, to me, I'm like, okay, $20,000 base salary. What is my commission rate? Okay, your commission rate is 20%. I don't know what it really is. I've never been a car salesman. Your commission rate is 20% on every car you sell from what the dealership makes. Okay, great. How many cars does your top salesman sell in a month? Okay, so that's going to be my very next question. How many cars does your top car salesman make in a month? Because I need to know what the top is right now. And I want to be more successful than that person, but I need to know who the most successful is there. Okay, so yeah. Oh, Mark, he sells 27 cars a month. Perfect. Okay, how much is he making? All All right. And then I want to know what the lowest amount is too, because I expect to not be any worse than at least the worst person. And, give yourself a break. The first month, you might not be as good as something or whatever. But so I want to know what the lowest person's making too. And, John, he shows up late. He's never here. He sells like 3 cars a month. He's okay with the $20,000 base salary, whatever. Okay. So I want to know these things, and those are going to be my questions, and those are going to be my thoughts, and not, oh, $20,000 base salary. Okay, that's my base salary. So I hope this is making some sense to you guys. Reframe your thinking to always be progressive. Okay. When you get and when I look for jobs in general growing up, I always looked for jobs that I could progress from. So I never wanted to be in, like, I don't know if you've heard the saying, but I didn't want to be in like a dead end job, right? Where you get this job and there's not really anywhere to move up from it. Okay. There's always ways to move up from most jobs, right? But there could be, like, let's say you become a manager somewhere and the manager just above you got hired 2 years ago. He's 33 years old and he's probably going to be there for a long time, right? Whereas, you apply for 2 different jobs. So that manager's 32 years old. He's been there for, 2 or 3 years. He really likes it. He's making bank. He's not going to make any more money anywhere else on this time in his life. He's going to be there a while, most likely, right? Whereas you go to an interview and the boss is 63 or 64 and she says, yeah, I'm about to retire in a couple years, but whatever, I'll be here for a couple years. I want to make sure we get this place running. I want to find a good replacement. And I actually had that happen before and I took a job there. But I told her in the interview, I was like, okay, cool. I'll just take your job then. And she said, fine, if you want it. And I basically took her job, but at a different hospital. Okay. So I took a director position at a different hospital in a similar department, but just a different hospital. Anyway, so you have to be thinking like, okay, well, here's an opportunity here, okay? If I kick ass at this job, if I really like it, if I do well, if I, impress and I'm impressing the right people, then I can take over this person's job in 2 years, and that's how I can move up, right? So don't leave yourself at closed-ended jobs. Obviously, if you don't want to move up, then you can leave yourself there. But if you have the drive to keep improving forward, you always want to be thinking of these things, okay? And that's one thing I thought about while deciding if I should stay in my position earlier this year or if I should. So reframe your thinking, you guys. Always be forward thinking. I really just wanted to end it on the compounding effect, which I basically talked about. Okay. It's all compounding. If I get this and then in another 6 months I get it again, and I can compound all these things without, I don't have 140 hours in a week, or so I'm not going to be able to do 2 things at once. But if you can find reasonable things to keep compounding and growing, then I'm all about that. Okay. So again, Karush recently wrote earlier today, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So that's really well said. Okay. Investment in knowledge is better than anything because, again, if you have this knowledge, you can take it anywhere, all right? Like I said, you're taking this course with 70 hours a week of knowledge that you are going to be guaranteed $100,000 minimum. It's a free course, okay? So judged by this, it's a free course. You get offered a course, right? And again, you're going to be making $100,000 minimum salary, assumedly for a year, like yearly salary, which is great. That's more than a nurse starting out from college after a 4-year degree. That's more than a teacher, that's more than a financial advisor, et cetera, right? So that's great money. That's really good money in most places, and it's amazing money in others. So, and I know where you live could affect some of this a little bit, but anyway, so that is the most important part of this, is to take more knowledge when you can get it, especially when it's free, and figure out how you can apply it and make it work its best for you, all right? And if you do have all this knowledge and you don't know how to apply it, then find people that do know how to help you and give you advice on how to apply this, okay? Don't think you can't, don't think you have to do it on your own, is basically it. Like, I talk to people all the time more successful than me. I ask them questions, I get advice. Sometimes they give me great little tip. I mean, not sometimes, all the time I always get great advice from them, but sometimes they say just one thing in the whole conversation that totally clicks in my mind to where I needed to go. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this little experiment I did today. It was I had fun reading the answers. But I'm trying to get you guys to think outside the box. I think outside the box when I'm charting, trading, all that kind of stuff. When I'm reading charts, I just like to, I don't like to follow the status quo. Again, when I'm in my professional career life, I don't like to follow what's normal and what's usual and what's expected. I like to make it my own. I like to think outside the box. I like to get creative and think that I can do something that maybe seems unachievable at the time, but every time I've set a goal for myself, I've achieved it this point. So at this point, I feel like there's no goal unattainable for me, and now I just keep finding the next goal and the next goal and just keep working from there. And it's really rewarding when you can set those goals and achieve them. All right. So, well, thanks a lot, guys, for listening. I really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Obviously, follow me on Twitter because you already are. If you aren't, please follow me on Twitter, Nebraskan Gooner. I post tons of content on there all the time. But yeah.